that deal of accountability from us, and they're always seem to be lacking on the themselves. And we got some information here that shows that the IRS shows that 5,800 IRS and contractor employees owe nearly $50 million in overdue taxes.
$50 million,
50 million.
and they work for the IRS.
For the IRS. Yeah, I mean, okay, they always talk about accountability. They always talk about accountability. They always say, "Oh, you got to have your paperwork done, and you got to get that done on April 15th." And where possibility of penalties and fines and all this. They're exempted from it. Well, and then others will jump ahead too about accountability. And I remember hearing this about this and years ago about people with firearms in the hands of federal agencies. They've had stolen police firearms off unsecured vehicles have been used in violent crimes. Obviously, between 2008 and 2017, over 1,781 law enforcement officers were reported missing. Okay, missing. Now they don't say they were found or they discovered it.
Not the officers, but their weapons.
Their weapons. Yeah, the weapons. Yeah. But see, okay, if you and I, okay, we always say if you have a handgun, like I have a CPL, and if I say I leave my CPL at some location, say put it in the car, I've gone in there like you're supposed to. I come back and somebody stole it. If I don't report that immediately, and they're going to try to start like a paper trail and stuff like that, I'd be screwed. I mean, I could be facing charges. But see, these guys, nothing said. I mean, and I remember hearing it when I used to get the NRA publications about that repeatedly. I mean, federal level, local government, police and stuff like that. There's no accountability.
A friend of ours sent me a video that had, I mean, this is the happy accident where a couple had left a firearm in plain view in a vehicle in a state where you can't have a firearm in plain view of the vehicle, but they left it unattended. So they went, they hunted down the couple in the restaurant. The couple handled it badly because the police were saying, it was just a dumb mistake. They were going to write it off, but it turned into something that wasn't. But what I'm saying is they'll go out of their way to get the populace for the same thing that they do.
Yeah, I mean they always go after us. I mean us on everything. Our politicians, our senators and congressmen. How many times have they been in arrears with the? Look at Al Sharpton. Okay, Al Sharpton. We talked about him earlier. I was talking about him the other night to somebody, and they were saying how many millions of dollars is he in arrears with the IRS, and he's still walking on free.
And not only that, how much did he get from Kamala Harris? His organization got how much?
$500,000. But also there was a conflict of interest with him with MSNBC. He did not
disclose it in any way before he went.
Before he did the thing, he did not tell anybody.
So he's more like a paid activist for Kamala Harris anytime he was on air after he got that money, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So he goes on MSNBC, does this interview, doesn't tell anybody at MSNBC that he actually received money from
whatever his organization
received, right? That he's good fight for. That he didn't know that she wrote the check for $500,000 for to his organization.
Oh, okay.
Well, he obviously didn't use that $500,000 to pay his taxes either.
Yeah, because then he always using arrears. This is years ago. I mean, this has been going on at least. I'm thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been hearing about him in arrears with the IRS for over 10 years.
Yeah, but it's okay for one of their own smart businessmen to use organization between themselves or to buffer themselves. Where that, oh no, I didn't take that money in. My organization did.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay when they do it, but if a Donald Trump or someone else on the right does it, they're not paying their fair share. They're using that organization to buffer themselves.
Well, look at Bill Clinton when he was president. There was actually an itemized list of stuff that made donations. He donated his laundry, his underwear to some charity for a tax.
They weren't dirty. They were clean. He was just doing it for.
He heard about some college girl doing it, so he thought he could jump in on it.
Probably all of his old clothes or whatever. Yeah. Just that was itemized, and underwear probably was on there.
But connected to this too, the IRS rehired 500 former employees. Some of them had serious problems they were fired for or were dismissed for, including sexual misconduct, assault, unauthorized access to tax records. Basically, these guys who we're supposed to trust. They got your social security number, all this stuff. These people violated, and they were dismissed, and they got rehired.
I'm just guessing. It was probably a union that had something to do with their rehire.
Yeah, it looks like over 282 of them had multiple documented.
Yeah,
so it's over half.
Right,
were multiply documented
more than once.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you there's no accountability for those who I'm gonna say it. They carry a badge. The IRS agents carry a badge, in a little wallet thing. Anybody, I'm just saying, have contempt for anybody who wears a badge. I mean, because they get away with murder. I mean, in many ways. I mean, there's no accountability. They say you gotta respect the law and order. Well, they don't respect themselves. They don't respect us. The information's out here. I mean, we pull this up on the internet.
What is
Yeah.
that? Laws for thee, but not
Not
for
for me.
me.
Right, exactly. And that's what, usually it's on the left. There's a two-tiered system too, like you're alluding to. Like Donald Trump does it. Oh, he violated campaign laws. All the other Democrats do it continuously, and nothing's ever said.
No.
They're
No.
very selective in their enforcement. No, we're saying enforce. If you're going to have a law, enforce the damn thing uniformly.
But do it on both sides.
Right,
Do it
yeah.
straight down the middle.
Well, and it comes to the same thing with the Attorney General and Department of Justice. I'm sure that there's cases where Joe Biden's administration's handing off to Trump's administration that they're going to continue with the cases.
Right.
All right.
But what I'm trying to say, there's even double standards there that just because that it was political. I would like to see a study to see how many cases that Donald Trump handed over to
Biden's
the
term.
Biden administration, that if they continued on with it or they just tossed it. Whereas I'm sure when it's vice versa, that Trump's administration will continue on with it if it's politically neutral. But I just wonder how many of them are political neutral.
Yeah, I don't think that's getting highly unlikely because damn near everything's politicized. I mean everything, even the things that you would think ordinarily wouldn't. Those things are being
And then
politicized.
that's another thing. Like Joni Ernst was a senator who handed over a whole bunch of things that she wants gone to Musk and Doge. That they're going to scream like bloody murder, like they already are. Like one of the stories that I got that Trump, one of the vows is to get rid of the Department of Education,
Mhm.
like on his first day.
Right.
And already the ACLU said vowing to fight it tooth and nail.
Well, see, I don't know how the ACO could step in. I mean, but I guess they could. I mean,
Well, they're saying the rights of the students are
Oh.
going to be violated.
Rights to the
it's
students.
rights for the student.
Oh,
That's
you know
such
what
a
I
far.
mean.
That's such a. Oh yeah, they're not going to get they're not going to get a quality education.
But I mean,
which
that's the way that they're probably going to come at it. Somebody's rights are going to be violated if you do that. I just don't understand how they can't see it being a good thing.
I don't either. I don't see how.
I mean, I don't. But just the threat of Trump saying that he's going to put a tariff on. Well, he said tax for Canada and Mexico, and a tariff for China. I think he actually used the word tax, not tariff,
Mhm.
of 10% automatically his first day if they don't do something about fentanyl. And what happened already just by him saying that Canada's dollar is already fallen. Um, don't you think that they're just gonna that it's a good thing that he says that? I mean, I'm sorry that they're. Actually, I'm not sorry their dollar's falling.
No,
But
No.
what I'm saying is just him saying that has
has a lot of power behind
power
it.
behind it.
Because he
Where I think if Biden said the same
He'd
thing,
be chuckling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
he
they,
knew.
because they know that Biden never did anything behind it. All they know is Biden. All he was is empty threats.
Right.
They know Trump does exactly what he's going to. When he says it, he's going to do it.
Well, it kind of calls like my friend told me about when they got the KGB records on Ronald Reagan, and they basically they had some stuff on him, obviously, observations and stuff, but the all end all thing is like means what he says what he means. Basically, he's going to carry out his threats, and that scared him. They're not and intimidate him, and Trump's like that for the our allies or our trading partners in Canada, Mexico.
well, Trump probably says what he means and does more than
What
what
do
he
you mean?
says.
Yeah, it's like if he says it, he's already got what 50%
Oh, he's
more
already got
beyond
it
it.
planned.
Yeah, it's already in the works. I mean, no, I mean, another thing is too. I mean, I remember when they negotiated NAFTA, and I got in a big argument with one of my friends about that because she tried to say that uh, um, Rush Limbaugh was against NAFTA and he was for it. I remember him saying, "We can get out of it. It's got this clause and all that." I remember him explaining on the show. Everybody wanted to make it sound, but then when he came in first time, Trump, he renegotiated NAFTA and both Canada and Mexico, and more favorable conditions and better things for it. But
And everybody cried.
everybody cried, yeah. And
I mean, we're making a better deal for the United States,
And everybody got
but
pissed
they're
off at-
upset about our friends Canada and Mexico.
yeah,
Stupid.
because you're not becoming You're not a superpower unless you give everything away to everybody else. That's not a superpower. That's just being an
It's
idiot.
stupid. Yeah, I mean, look at all of Can. Okay, if you look at most of Canada, most of the population centers take place within 80 to 100 miles of the U.S. border.
Right.
All right. So I mean, if you go to say, well, you go over to Windsor, okay, Windsor or any place in Ontario, because within 100 some miles of Detroit and Port Huron, most of their industry is reflective of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But getting back to Canada, they're not such good ally. No, I don't want to say allies, but business partners. Look what they did to the dairy
Yeah.
industry. What they tried to do by flooding their market with their milk
And the other thing is too, they send us their trash. I mean, and
That's what we got from now.
in
Yeah.
Michigan.
yeah, the Granholm, who was a Canadian. She was born in Canada, raised in Canada. She was our governor at the time, and she allowed that to happen. It was going. I mean, I thought it was more. It's so ironic that to me, it's like we got trash from Canada twice. Our governor plus the actual trash coming over each week. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, how's that favor? I mean, look at all the interior portion of Canada. Dude, you can't tell me they don't have
They
places
have
where you can set up dumps.
all that land.
Yeah, all that
Well,
land.
but their laws are so stringent that they probably can't.
It's like we'll make laws on ourselves so stringent we can't actually live with them, but we got the United States to literally dump on.
And that's basically what they
That's
did.
what they
They
did,
dumped-
right?
They dumped all those.
And then also, I guess we got some nuclear stuff, if I recall correct, my memory
Yeah.
serves. Yeah, some nuclear waste. We don't
People
need
forget
that.
about stuff like that. Then we got nuclear waste buried in Nevada or where that. I think it's Nevada.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Nevada. It's like, yeah, I mean, the population's so
Out there in the
sparse out
desert.
there. Yeah, but I don't think there's any reason why we should import, waste of industrial waste or nuclear waste from any other country.
Because
in
we
our
have
country.
stupid people in charge of government, and that's what they're scared of. Is that the majority of Trump's staff are millionaires and billionaires that have already done something in life and could be kicking back and enjoying their money, yet they want to serve.
Yeah, these
And
are
that scares people.
Yeah, I mean, you have a career I mean, a lot of people in the DC area because we just seen the ones that you elect. But you look at all these organizations and agencies and stuff. They've had people in there. Their families have been employed in these federal government level jobs decades. I mean, since mostly since FDR, because FDR is when there's a
Right.
massive increase in federal agencies. So okay, that's in the 1930s. Okay, this is 2024. I mean, that's the way of life for some
Well,
of these
that's another
families.
thing that's scaring him because he wants to decentralize a lot of these agencies, meaning move them out of Washington into a whole different state in some cases.
Well, that make more practical sense. I mean, basically, another thing is too, if the scenario, and it looks a little more and more likely because we're agitating Russia, we could get hit with a nuclear blast. Okay. The first thing they're going to do is take the infrastructure out, and part of it's going to be the command structure set up in around DC. Why would you want crucial things censored so they can knock it all at one fall swoop?
That's why I
you
never
know?
understand why do we allow our senators and representatives
Oh,
to
man,
live in Washington?
Maybe
They
it's wishful
They
thinking.
shouldn't be living there. They should be visiting.
Yeah, that's what they should. I mean, to actually, if you really don't want to be prepared for the possibilities, and it's looming. Okay, really, folks, it really is. Why don't you have these people? I don't like them, but you elected them. Okay, have them in bunkers somewhere within or somewhere near the state they're supposed to represent. They should not have to be in DC 90% of the time.
They should just be not in a
Not with
bunker,
the
not in a
technology we
bunker, but just be in their states
Right.
and die with their citizenry.
Right? Yeah, because
With what technology we have today, they don't ever have to go back in there at all.
right, because look at we have so
Well, look, we had somebody in here. He didn't win, but he said that when I said that to him, he more or less stuck his nose up and said, "We have to be in Washington."
yeah we have
Why?
I didn't
What
get
was
a
his
chance
thought?
to ask what his because he said that's the way it
because
is.
he wants the reason why he ran for office. In my opinion, these people say that I'm running off office because I want to get away from the people that I'm now associated with because I think I'm better than they are.
All right, let's go back to Harry Reid's philosophy. I'm sorry. Let's
Yeah.
go back to Harry Reid's philosophy when he put a brand new air system in the Senate because he didn't want to smell how common people smell when they're up in the rotunda. That's exactly what these people think.
Yeah, that's what they
You
think.
know what? Get rid of it. Get rid of these people. Get them back. Then get them back to where they belong, where the constituents can actually
Well,
talk to
and
them.
a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the things that they're doing now is recent history. It's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? A lot of things changed in 1916 is when a lot
Right.
of this pomp and circumstances started happening where the senators started to live in Washington and different things.
Because the original intention was supposed to be administrative district. That's what I remember from.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
people were our senators and our representatives were appointed by the House in each state,
Right.
and they
Right.
could and they served at the will of the state. If the state didn't like what was going on,
They pulled them
they
back.
would pull them out and send someone else in there. It was never meant to be a permanent job.
No, that's what's supposed to be 1 or 2 terms or
It
whatever.
wasn't even supposed to be terms.
It was just supposed, it was to serve your
The,
purpose.
the
get out.
will, if Democrats won, then they got all Democrats in there.
If I remember right, the president received them when they first came in and accepted them. Like he accepts the ambassadors. If I
Right.
remember right back before 1916, that's what happened. Because
Right.
if you didn't like that group, if the constituents didn't like that group, they didn't send them back in.
Okay. See, they changed it. I mean, Steve and I talked about that. He brought that up when during Mr. Moss's show.
Same thing. Central Bank and the senators was just a happy coincidence
Yeah.
that they changed at the same time.
Simultaneous.
Where we'll elect these guys, and then we'll pay to get the guys. Now that we got the money as a central bank, we'll pay to get the people that we want to think like we do.
Well, how scared do you think that the Federal Reserve is since Trump has broached the subject of actually eliminating or moving away from
But
it? How do you
The
think?
cryptology.
I don't know, but just think about it. If each state sent their people that they wanted to represent the state, Washington wouldn't be as important as it is right now because it could change. Like you could have Democrats could take over the House, and then the senators overnight and those representatives would switch to Democrats.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I think it would be better for the United States if it were that way
Yeah.
because of the changeover, and there would be more focus and more money spent in the state to try to get the people in there that you want to go to Washington. You'd have more say in Washington than you do now.
You have no say right now.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. You got-
Lobbyists do. Lobbyists have all the say.
we
Or
just
your
had-
state would have more say.
who
Right.
just got elected to replace Kildee and going to DC. From Michigan. It was a female. I can't remember her name. Rivet. Her name is Rivet or something like. Well, anyway.
Right.
Okay, so she's going to be there for how many term? I mean, how many years?
4 years.
4
right?
Was it for the?
Is it 4 or
I
6?
think it's 2. I think it's 2.
I think
Or
she's still
two.
sitting out like the 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Well, okay. So let's face it. I mean, she gets in there after 4. If she's reelected twice, she's already an insider there. She's forgotten her district. I mean,
Right.
that's what it is. I always forget their district. They're so detached from. And Dale Kildee, before Dan, there was Dale. He was in there, 40 years, 35, 40 years. And he lived all outside districts so much none of his kids even ever went to schools in the schools districts in around
But
here.
could you imagine growing up in that time and to be someone who's civically minded and see what's going on and just thinking the United States is falling apart? That you're not going to have the say that you had now that you have elected senators instead of a representative of your state house in Washington. Must
Yeah,
have been a horrible
Yeah,
time.
yeah, they've that generation that saw that implemented did probably suffer some panic
I
attacks.
mean, look at the movies at the time. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. They
Mhm.
were more civically minded than we are
Today,
now
right.
and aware.
Well, yeah, because let's face it. I mean, Americans have been the education. When I still was going to school, we had some teachers who actually taught American government classes, civics class, and you actually got to know the process, and you got to get really familiar with it. And they encourage, and so most of them were on the left. I would consider politically aligned.
They
on
were
the left.
they were liberals,
Liberals.
But moderate.
with the no what I mean they were real liberals,
Real liberals,
not,
yeah.
not like the terminology that we use for
Right.
liberal now. They weren't left.
The only thing liberals nowadays is liberally want to apply force and coercion.
They
or use it
steal
to-
all the monikers. They steal all the names
Yep.
that they want to use.
Well, I wish I could have had printed up. Maybe if I come across it.
But
have
you
it
were
printed-
saying something about your teachers.
Oh yeah, the teachers were taught us they taught things. The teachers taught us we actually had a respectful attitude about government because we knew what it did, how it was supposed to function, and we had a role in it. Now they're not teaching that. I
We
guess
even had
it's-
songs on how bills.
Yeah.
I remember that song, The Bill. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
We,
Yeah.
we had information taught to us as kids on Saturday.
right, and it was such an important thing. And I mean,
I am a bill.
and on the left is like so opposed to the First Amendment. They want to, they hate social media. They loved it at first. And so, I mean, Obama used the social media sites. He created them during his first run, and then the Republicans were flagging, they didn't do that.
But if Elon Musk published a survey of his people, of the people that use Twitter,
Mhm.
it's about 49, 48 right now. 49 percent would consider themselves Republicans or conservatives, and 48 would consider themselves. So it's in between.
Right.
So we're
It's
kind of
where
like,
it should be,
right.
and they're upset because they don't have the last word, especially with the notes. The notes, I think, really make it fair if you take the time to read the notes on the Twitter postings or the X postings.
That I wasn't aware of them, so I have to go back and look at
Yeah,
that.
if you look, what there will be is that there will be a posting, and then beneath it, if there's a note, it will say
Right.
note, and then you can read the note as to why either they agree with it or disagree with it. If they do, they have to have
Reasons
the
why.
reason why the a topic written in a way that's not biased, and then sites that back up what they're saying.
Okay, I like that. I mean, it's like this is where I'm getting it from. I mean, that's
I mean, you
asking
can
that
find
is-
out if you just can't go and post lies,
right.
and they're upset about that. Then even Elon Musk gets noted for
Oh, yeah.
things that he says.
So it's in
They're
other words,
funny sometimes.
well, sometimes so the people are saying we got to have they want to pass laws so they can say they're going to have more accountability because we to prevent the spreading of misinformation. When they take measures to actually try to guarantee that happens,
And-
they also bitch about it.
But I think the notes do prevent misinformation, and usually it's the left that is
Usually
it's
wrong.
spitting out the misinformation that's getting to the community notes, and they're upset about it.
I know you don't like using it, but I mean this goes along with what we're talking about. You don't like using, for example, because you want to be largely irrelevant. But the View, how many times in the past few days, and I think we brought
I
that.
think
the
it
last
turned
podcast.
out to be 3. It wasn't. We said 7
Seven.
a show before. I think it was only 3 times.
But you could tell they
Right,
were
talking about the
resentful.
View,
Yeah.
it looks like they're on the chopping block.
Oh, well,
Oh well, I mean,
Yeah, did you see-
I'm not gonna miss it. I never
And
watch it.
Sunny Huston's is not helping it one bit.
no,
She's just cutting because she's wanting everybody to see one thing.
But they're in their bubble. I mean, how many? What percentage of the United States do you actually think thinks like they do?
well, probably
I mean, really, if you really think about it.
I think the only kind of people you're gonna see is
But
is
what
the ones-
percentage, if you had to guess? What?
Probably 2%.
Point nothing?
Probably a 2%.
I'd say there's 30%, 20 to 30%.
Oh no, but we couldn't survive if 20 to 30% of the people in our community
Well,
thought like
Where's
that.
that shot? Where was that shot at? Is it in LA or New York? The View?
That's got to be shot in New York.
Okay, so if it's in New York, I'd say if it's you representing that area, yeah, that's a big bubble because
No,
that's
but
what
it's-
pretty much
it-
almost they all
the
think.
whole United States
But
watches
it's-
it.
Yeah, everyone watches it.
But it's only like I don't even think it's 2 million people watch it. That's nothing.
I think it's less than
Joe
700,000.
Rogan gets a hell of a lot more than that.
Well, actually, Joe Rogan actually. Okay, so talking about that, you want to talk about the View? Talk about MSNBC. Friday, one of the funny things we were talking. One of the things you were talking about the last show we were on. You were talking about how MSNBC could be sold for a song and a dance.
Right, for what they owe,
Yeah.
just to take over the debt.
Elon Musk comes out and throws out a thing
How
about
much?
how much I want to buy it.
But that's how he started out with Twitter. is
Right.
How much? How much?
and then he puts a
and-
cartoon out
But,
there.
but,
We're not leaving the temptation.
but the thing is, the guy overthinks things. It could turn out to be a great news network. I don't think he's just going to make it if he's going to invest money into it,
Right, it's
he's
gonna
going
be
to
great.
want to make money out of it. It would be fun to make it a meme and let it die, but why waste that money?
Oh,
Why
no.
not turn it into something?
Joe
great?
Rogan's already said that.
He said, "Give me my time slot."
He'll take over Rachel Maddow's thing, and all Elon Musk says is he wants to buy it just to be able to fire Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow goes over onto the show, and she starts crying. Here's the funny
Oh, that
thing
was that was a community note on,
Yeah.
on that wasn't real. That was two things brought together.
Oh,
That
or
she
was
was
it?
she was crying about something else,
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
but they made it
Damn.
look like she was crying about Elon Musk. Somebody put it together in such a way
It looked real.
But like I said, that's where community notes come in.
Yeah.
That somebody jumped on and said no, that and showed where the one video came from. They're two different sources.
So that's a good way that they actually have shown it, and they can actually verify it.
But again, it backfired on them because they were using the community notes on the people that said that they can't get their word out.
Right.
It's noise, according to John Kerry.
Yeah,
Political noise.
Political noise.
Well, anyways, here's the
That-
funny thing
that-
is it comes out with this thing, but Joe Rogan did say something funny. He's like, I'll take a show on Monday night. It'll just give me Rachel Maddow's spot, and I'll
Yeah.
dress up like her if you need me to. I'll wear glasses, so you know that this is actually going to go into it, right? Because when he starts throwing rumors, you know the next step is
Well,
he'll
what
write
was
a
funny
check.
too, getting back to the View, they said talking about Joe Rogan, this being a comedian, and then he has a show where he interviews the president and everything. And one of them said that he believes in dragons,
Mhm.
and so he went and changed his Twitter or his X to his bio, dragon believer.
Yeah, that's all he said. I saw the interview. He said it would be cool. Somebody was talking about one of his guests, and he said, "Well, that would be cool if they existed at the same time that humans did," or something. He said, "Yeah, that would be cool." That's all he said. He didn't say, "Oh, I believe him." I got, oh my god.
But still, dragon
But
believer.
they take little things that you say and they just throw them. I mean, something you could say, hey, you know what? I like Charmin toilet paper, and someone's like, oh my god, you know, the only
says
thing
he eats it.
Yes,
No,
he eats it, you
John
know,
said that when that he threw a baby up in there and was playing with the baby. Oh, John's throwing babies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John is now throwing babies out there garbage. Yes.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just, and the left is.
But the problem is they say it and they know they're never going to be.
Oh, they are now.
Oh yeah, but now their legal team is because they're owned by ABC, and ABC is like on the hot spot. Coming out to it.
Well, the
But
dominoes are
today,
falling already. You know, it's
because of what you tell
MSNBC is just a start. You know, after it goes,
and NBC.
it's like your arm is rotting and
Yeah.
they're cutting off your fingers, but you know it's the whole
kind of
thing
like that
gonna be
leprosy
gone.
going.
Yeah.
You got to cut. You got to cut the
The
whole arm off.
disease is already started and they can't stop it. It's like a cancer. A good, I mean, I can't say there's no good cancers.
Yeah, there.
Maybe I should use it, but
It's kinda
whatever
like a
it is,
leprosy
it's
kind of
going up
thing.
their arm.
It's like it's
A
it's
disease.
a contagion,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, I've never thought I was going to see that. I mean, I thought the main press is always going to be the main press because or the media was because they've been established for some. I'm 61, so ever since I was a kid, you had ABC, NBC, and CBS,
But-
then later on NBC.
But you're saying that, but did you ever think that there would be the day where you would see a person on mainstream news saying that a person that dresses up as the opposite sex is wrong, not only wrong, but the person has underlying mental illness? Did you ever think you would see that day where they would actually be discussing that on regular news?
Actually, the way I always saw it is to actually consider that to be normal, or they
Right,
try to
but
normalize
my
that. Would have
question
been
is, did you ever think there would be a day
no,
where you
of
would
course
see
not.
that
That
on
you
news?
actually have to be addressing that now.
I was like, I remember when MASH was on. You remember Klinger?
Jamie Farr.
Jamie Farr's character, Klinger, he's always dressed as a woman. And back then I said, it's funny. But as I got older and saw this stuff going on, I went, they actually probably
Yeah,
planted
but
the
he
seed,
had his limits.
Yeah, he had his
when,
limits.
when it became sexual or whatever.
Yeah.
That was it.
No.
Well, see, originally Klinger's character was supposed to be a gay. He was supposed to be gay, but they thought that was too hot topic
Yeah,
back
because
then.
that was like the
70s,
1970s.
yeah.
I mean, they did have soap. That was crazy.
Yeah, they had
That's-
I think,
you remember soap?
Yeah,
Yes.
Billy Crystal played. His name was Jody. I think his
And-
name
and
was
he was
Jody.
gay.
Gay, yeah. And then there's also
Mary Hartman.
Yeah.
Well, that's where soap came from. Was
Yeah.
Mary Hartman. I forgot.
there's a spinoff, yeah, and then
You
Then-
remember that?
yeah.
Mary Hartman.
then it was surprising they had more of a mainstream one, Soap, wasn't that Soap?
Soap was a spinoff of
I mean,
Martin Mull's
yeah.
Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman.
Remember, it was a short on the Martin Mull show.
okay, and then somehow,
Soap came from
Yeah.
from the Martin Mull show.
but then also then later on, didn't they have a character that Robbie Guillaume played that they later on Benson? They
Benson,
expanded him,
yeah.
and then he had his own series
Right.
too. So they had all these oddball characters and stuff coming off that basically skit comedy by Martin Mull, who just passed away a year or two ago. By the way, I don't know. if you knew that.
I like Benson. That one I like.
I'm trying to think of his sidekick.
Playing
No, Martin Mull's sidekick.
Oh,
he
got
turned
it.
out to be a big star too.
Oh yeah, I can't remember
It's
the guy's
okay.
name.
We don't. We keep move on.
But anyway, this again. But I remember the characters like, and Tony Randall played a gay character on Love Sydney. It was called Love Sydney. It was brief. The series only lasted maybe 1.5, 2 seasons. It was an interesting character, but I mean, like I said, though, I mean, this
Even in the Odd Couple, you maybe thought he might have been a little bit,
yeah,
a
because
little bit on
a
gay.
little bit gay.
it's really because he's over a fuss budget, and that was
That
typically
OCD stuff.
And John Lemon before that. John Lemon and Walter Matthau.
yeah, the original, yeah,
I love
Odd
those
Couple.
guys and Grumpy Old Man.
yeah, that was really good. That was a long time. They're both gone now.
We don't
too.
have good movies like that
No.
anymore.
We don't have good
I mean-
actors anymore.
Movies that us old but dumb boomers that were actually not old enough to be boomers, but
Yeah.
would think would would be a good movie.
I might be a dumb boomer, but at least I know where milk really comes
But
from.
you know
No,
what?
no.
I would rather be a I'd rather be a boomer than a millennial. I guess that's what we'd be if we're not a boomer, right?
Yeah, it's like
I
I'm not.
don't even care.
See, I think the cutoff point for
I think we might just make it for us. We
Yeah.
might make it for boomers, but I think you're a
No.
millennial.
Yeah, you're millennial,
I'm
yeah.
screwed.
I think we would have been just
on the cusp
born,
of it.
just born.
You guys just skated right through.
Yeah,
into it.
we're just there. I mean, like, well, my brother, I have a brother who's like 10 years older than me, and so he was definitely in the boomer category because this, you know,
You're in the boomer.
yeah.
You guys just skated right by your chin. Guess
But-
what? Mine. Guess what? I am more in the millennial.
So you actually grew up with video games, and
But
stuff.
still, I mean, I don't know if you can remember having to get up and turn the channel.
Oh, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Because
I
turning
remember
the
the first
channel and
time-
only having three. Well, actually, being proud that you could get channel 20 out of Detroit. So that meant that you had 4 channels.
yeah,
Then when you got Comcast, you had to go up there and you had to turn that
Yeah,
station.
you had channel 3, then you had to turn the other dial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
then if you took it, then if you wanted to get a free HBO,
You do it in the middle.
you turn it right in the middle. You
And
put a
then they
knife
can-
there. Then if you really wanted to play around with it, if you wanted to get the Playboy, you turn it over here. And
okay.
Then you saw a lot of stuff was scrambled, but
Yeah.
you made like make sense out of it, right?
Your mind can
Yeah, you put it-
descramble
You're
it.
using a Gestalt
I
principle.
think
like-
I seen.
I think I saw
I
breasts.
think I saw a breast and those lines going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember.
Then
Actually, we
you
had
ran when your parents came home because you didn't want to get caught. You know.
my dad had probably been the one watching it, but no.
I
But,
remember my dad actually subscribed to it while all us kids would sit down. All
Yeah.
those guys, we sat there in the corner watching. He's like, "Get your ass in the bed! Don't you dare watch this shit."
But it's like my dad. We had to add a degree of difficulty. We had a pair of with the knob to turn the channels off, so we had to have a pair of
You know,
vice grips. Needle nose. Yeah, needle nose. Yeah, needle nose. You had to make sure you got that just right before you turned
You
it.
say that to a kid today, they're looking at you, go, "Huh?"
Yeah, we actually had to go up and turn the change the channels manually.
I
Yeah.
actually asked.
I was the channel clicker.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! And it's like I remember when the first ones came out. They looked, they're so big.
Yeah.
You couldn't miss those things. They were like,
You had 3 or 4 kids in your family, didn't you?
5.
So you had if you had TVs in different rooms, you had each one of you had this,
Oh,
were assigned to a room.
come on,
You're the
man.
channel changer for
You
the
got to
room.
remember when I was growing up, when I was before I hit my teens, a TV was a major investment.
Mhm.
It wasn't something that every house had because it was a lot of money, and people thought of it as it was a big investment. It was hundreds, sometimes it was hundreds of dollars.
Well, actually, so some of the ones the ones that colored and the ones in big wooden cabinets, they're like $400 or $500.
Well, I told you my family had a Curtis Mathis,
That was a
first
few $100.
color TV, not in the neighborhood. A lot of people came to our house to watch, to see what it looked like.
Yeah, Curtis Mathis, they used to have a store right out here at the small mall out there in Dort Highway just a few about till the 90s, early 90s sometime. I think that's when it folded up. But I mean, that was the last American made TV sets. Yeah, they're really good.
I remember where you grew up. We had that big box, and then we had a big old thing with a radio, and then they had a
Yeah, it was an all in
Turntable.
one. It was like what was
And
it, a
eight-track.
hi-fi system.
yeah.
Yeah, and I made out of real wood. I mean,
Yeah.
real wood, not pressed board.
Well, we got
particle board.
one in the garage.
Yeah, yep.
Here,
Yeah.
It's a record player. What doesn't have a TV though?
No, it doesn't have a TV. It's
No,
got
it
a
just got a
record
record player.
Record
probably-
player and speakers, and it's got the accordion thing that goes across.
It's like you could put like the record your albums in and stuff. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. It's like
But now here's a total change. What do you think about Trump wants to prompt the Supreme Court when he gets in there to challenge birthright citizenry,
oh, that's what our parents.
where you can't have an anchor baby anymore, where you can't come to the United States
Have a baby
to give
and the whole-
birth,
and
and,
the parents
then not the parents, but the kid is American citizen.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay
Were-
too
were
with it.
you're okay with being able to come across the border?
No, I'm okay with challenging it.
Challenging that because I mean, I remember reading years ago
Other countries don't do it.
because I remember that when I first got acquainted with that being an issue is when I was reading the Joseph Bamba books. You know, he wrote about the L.A. police. You know, like
Right.
Blue Knight. I don't know if you're ever familiar with his work. The Onion Fields, all about cops. He had been a cop. Anyway, he wrote books on that. Well, anyway, it was one of this Mexican couple stopped and talked to a cop about wondering where the hospital was, and they were saying, "Oh, you know, he misdirected him." And his partner said, "Why'd you do that for?" And he goes, "They just come up here to have their kids, and then they got U.S. citizenship." No, the book was written in the 1970s. You know,
When you think about it, okay, our our laws are so unfair. I mean, you can come across the border and then have a baby, and it becomes a U.S. citizen. Yet
Right.
you've got our people that marry foreigners,
Right.
and they come to the United States, and it takes them years and a lot of money
Right.
in order to get their wives or their husbands
To be
U.S.
citizen.
citizens,
Right.
and they're investigated by might as well be the FBI, and sometimes they're turned down.
by the immigration system.
But somebody who they could be two, the parents could be both felons,
Come over here,
come
have a
here, have
baby.
a baby, and well, you
Welcome
can't
to
kick me out. My baby's a U.S. citizen. How is that fair?
It's not. It's not fair.
No, and you know what? We always want to say, well, other countries do this, other countries, we should follow them. But we don't want to follow the other countries'
No,
philosophy.
other countries
Don't
don't.
do
Other
that.
countries are more.
More stringent than ours.
You can't even own property in Mexico.
Or Germany or other.
But what I'm saying is, one of our closest partners, you can't own property
No,
in Mexico.
that's why I'm agree with you.
But yeah, that's what we should be following other countries with their immigration laws.
But if you do that, you're gonna get all of, like you were talking about ACL, you're gonna get all these sort of people just jumping up in everyone's arms.
Well, let them
because
jump up.
I mean, it's like,
It's about
That's
time
what
they
I'm
jump
saying.
up and get slapped back down.
well, I mean, just basically, you're going to scream and hissy fit. Basically, if you walk away from this kid throwing a tantrum, that's why I look at these people. If they're out of your earshot, they're out of mind. I mean, they just shut them, just ignore them. I mean, we got to look out for our own interest. I mean, and that's not going to say we're not saying talk about stopping illegal immigration
No.
or everything else. We're not talking about that. But if somebody comes over here, basically squeezes out a kid here, then another thing is we're not just leaving them here. Take care. We're taking
And
care of them.
also, it's
Right.
too late for the. Okay, what you need is a day. By this day next year, it's going to stop.
Right.
Everybody that from before this day, from
Right.
now until this day, is don't worry about it, and that would eliminate a lot of problems.
And it's like, I guarantee you, nobody else. I mean, some people will say that's racist or whatever. If I
Oh,
went to
it's-
their country,
yeah.
What did
they wouldn't let
Reagan-
us in
All
there.
right, Reagan did one thing. He actually did say, okay, you know what? We have screwed up the
The
immigration.
immigration,
already.
yeah, where he
And
did
so
the 2 million. I think it was 2 million, wasn't
Yeah.
it? That he authorized.
everyone to come up that this is it, and cleaned up the record.
But that's the way it should be. That's fair.
Right.
And then for a while, the border was cleaned up, everything was going on, doing was fixed, and then the whole system was working a little bit.
And that's when I can't understand where you got all these people upset right now with Trump saying that he's going to deport massive deportation, starting with the criminals.
Right.
He's not going to waste his time going against a law-abiding person. Why would you do that when there's bad people?
Right.
They can just start with unloading the
Because-
people out of our prisons
Because that kind of sounds better for their quote unquote
for their
campaigns.
cause.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their cause to sit there and say, oh, they're coming after
But
grandma.
the good
He's
thing
not coming
about
after
it,
grandma.
and now that Trump can still go on Joe Rogan if Joe Rogan wants to have him or whatever, not, but
Yeah.
he can still go on all these shows or send his surrogates to
Yeah.
these shows to explain to the American people directly. If I was him, I would never have another interview with any of the ABC, NBCs,
No.
or
No,
CBS, not even Fox News.
no more meet the
No
press.
more direct, and no more. I would just have them silent and make them write down their questions.
Another thing is too, I would say, since there's a plethora of good podcasters out there, he can say, tell to the staff, hey, just randomly choose one and I'll go on this one, the one I don't normally go to.
Right.
Yeah.
And keep us in mind, sir, if you do that. But serious, do that. I mean, that way it's keeping around. There's not going to become favoritism. They could ask hard questions.
But what I was going to say is, why change what you're already doing? Your questions are already written down for Joe Biden. What's the difference of just writing them down and continuing to do it for Donald Trump?
Right.
I mean, what's the difference? You can't complain, oh, Donald Trump's not giving us access. You haven't had access for, I'm talking about the news. You haven't had access for over 4 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is the difference? Why is he going to, and that's another thing. That's what he should say. You haven't had access for the last 4 years, but now that I'm in office, you're complaining.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You know what? And I also take that press pool that they've got and just say, you know
Just
what?
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing
There's
is,
a way you save money right there.
remember, so Steve and I used to work with a guy named Larry Cachetti, and he always talked about video accountability. For local government, you having a webcam in a guy's office, and he would sit down and say, "This is what I did today, or this is what I did this week, and here's who I met with." I know Trump would
Well,
love
no,
that.
I couldn't understand. Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, it makes sense. Why shouldn't there be, if we own it,
Right,
the people, why shouldn't there be a camera
right,
in your office?
right. Just like,
Make them go downtown to have their little secret squirrel meet. Well, I don't think they're going to be meeting in the Capitol anyways. If they're doing anything wrong,
no, they'd be on the golf course. That's where most of that stuff's going to
Yeah.
go.
Or in
One
the
of the
hotel
golf course
room with their lover.
Yeah, see, I've always said, and not always said, but I've always said to take away their homes in DC. If they want to stay in DC, don't let them have homes. Build dorms up.
yeah,
Let them stay in
this-
dorms.
This is you. You can stay here.
Well, here's the deal. We stayed in barracks. Why
Right.
can't
Same
they stay in
thing.
barracks?
Yeah,
Well, I think that the troopies have better stuff than we had.
Yeah, but put back to the same part. You serve the country.
but
We serve the country.
But also, in addition to that, they'd have to have no ex parte. You know, they couldn't meet with lobbyists or anything else. If they did, everything would have to be live streamed. Everything would be mic'd, so they could be everything said is being picked up. So these son of a bitches can't sell us out.
Well, how about lobbyists can't enter the Capitol?
Right.
How about this? If a lobbyist walks into a Capitol and they meet with you and it's not on one spot, you go to jail.
Right. Or if you just, but I think the best way is just let them come, but we'll hear what they're saying. You know, let's see what they're what they're trying to push through is going to screw with us. You know, any of the lobbyists. I don't care if it's, I mean, even groups like the NRA officially is considered a lobbying group, but I mean, make sure that they have to be answered to, you know, and what they're doing is what may put more in the light.
What's this when Elon Musk responds to a British government summons him?
Yeah, they were summoning him, and he says, "No, I'm going to summon you."
I don't know what to really make. I don't know what to really make of Musk. I mean, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. If he's going to come out to be this real great villain because he's got the money. He's like basically. Did you notice the more and more of the people in the political realm are actually become more like James Bond villains? I mean, they're multinational. They're billionaires, like Goldfinger or something like that. They're all over the
But
world.
what would he be? The goody villain? I'm going to go do good stuff.
Well,
Well,
that's-
go plant a forest.
Well,
Today.
that's didn't he make his family's? I had a
But in the
emerald
middle
mine.
of,
I don't think you're gonna see the shoe to drop with him. I think with Elon Musk, what you see is what you get. I think he's okay. He's a very hardworking.
they've tried to destroy him.
He's just who he is. He gets through it all because what he does is go and he works.
I'm not saying he's a good person and what he's doing is good. I like what he's doing.
right.
You don't have to agree with the
Oh
person.
no.
I mean, Bill Gates could be doing good things, and we could agree with it, but I don't think that will ever happen. I think he's one of the most evil people
Yep.
on the planet.
Like I said,
I think he got caught it too.
I think he's basically like a James Bond
Well,
villain.
He
No.
might be he's a James Bond villain.
Yeah, he really
Yeah,
is.
but I think he got his hand in the cookie jar and got slapped.
Well, yeah, somebody's
Because
like,
I think it came out with this whole thing with his COVID.
yeah,
I think his hand got slapped. I think he got caught red-handed with that one.
and
And I think he thought that Fauci was going to be his golden.
I don't
calling.
know.
you think Fauci's ever going to get put charges against him?
I don't know. Is it going to make you feel any better? I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
It
I
should
mean,
be.
yeah, I don't want to. You want to see him suffer?
yeah.
You
Oh
want-
hell
what-
yeah.
What,
I
take
think
like all of his
listen.
shots in succession?
Yeah,
of
dude.
everything that he's developed
Oh, you know what?
from
No, I think-
AIDS
no.
to COVID.
We'll use him as a damn guinea pig that he intended us
Make
to
him
be.
take all of his pills.
Let him take the thing from the one lab that he authorized. If it's so perfect, let him take it.
That's what it said.
Did you ever see what is it? Aaron Brockovich. They're serving. No,
They're
they're
drinking the
their
water.
He
And they
goes,
all
"We-
spit it
yeah,
out.
they got it from that town that they were talking about. They all spit it out. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what you make them take the. Yeah, if everything's okay, then you take it. And they actually showed one time. I don't know if that was misinformation or not. Where they're getting the vaccine to one of the
And they
big wigs,
shot it.
and they actually wasn't. There was no needle actually in the syringe. You know,
I don't know.
I mean, it's like
But one thing that I would like to revisit is we talked about Texas having having
Right.
Bible study.
Right.
I might as well say
Yeah.
Bible study
Right.
in class, and you didn't like it, but we researched it. What do you think now?
well, it's as long as it's voluntarily done, and that's fine. Because see, another thing is I do have an issue. I mean, I quite frankly do not want. I can understand. I don't understand where they're going to try and insert themselves. I know they were. The Muslims are going to say we're part of the American fabric. We always have been. No, you haven't. Okay, there's nothing that
But
our culture's
But
created.
what I did
It's stats
see
that you're-
is someone smarter than we are saying that part of the reason they're doing this is so they can take it up to the Supreme Court to get rid of church and separation of church and state.
Well, that could be very all it too. I mean, it's
Because that's really, if it comes down to that, the separation of church and state is on shaky ground. Just like abortion was.
Well, see, that's one thing where if we talk about misinformation, that was one I grew up with. Always hearing the leftists would
I
say,
always thought it was
Yes.
written down.
yeah, it's like it's a what they call it it was like the condition.
It
Or,
was an inference.
yeah, they always made it sound like it was written in the Constitution of separation of church and state. It's a wall of separation, and it was a letter from to the Danbury Baptist people from Thomas Jefferson. That's the wording he used in a personal correspondence with these people.
And it's just somebody saying it was their intent.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like well, with,
It was
And
not his
an
intent,
intent
but-
is not a law.
no, see, another thing is the way that our country is constructed, the founding documents would prevent the state from establishing a forced religion upon people. I mean, it was already there.
But there was no separation between church and state from the very beginning. They've always prayed. And matter of fact, they still pray in Congress.
Right. You know,
Right.
even sometimes they bring a Muslim, a imam or something like that to offer prayer and stuff. So, I mean, we're trying to accommodate. I mean,
They even
it's-
have a chaplain.
yeah.
They even have
Right.
two
But
chaplains.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the whole reason, part of the reason is the people smarter than we are already saying they got people in the wings just waiting for that case to go in front of in front of the Supreme Court
It-
so they can argue it and tear it apart.
Right.
Like they tore apart abortion.
Well, that's what it is. That's exactly what it's going to be. I mean, and what I applaud Trump on is he brought it much further than any of these pro-right groups or these people who are saying they're pro-life, senators and congressmen for decades. We're going to fight this fight, and nothing would happen all the time.
Well,
they're in
what they're
office.
upset about is they just lost the big with the abortion. Getting back to the abortion, they just lost the big issue.
Right.
And plus, what's the sense of having a national organization anymore
Right.
when it's a state issue?
Right.
So they lost that too. They lost funding and money.
Well, it's like often we have me and my friends would talk about, say, if Jesse Jackson, he wants to fight racism, and there's less and less of appearance of racism around. What would these guys do? Where would they go? And that's the case right now for these guys, as well as for the abortion rights and the abortion, what the reproductive rights groups. They're going to have to go by the wayside. I mean, there's no need for them. I mean, where's that
And that's
hierarchical?
the same thing.
gonna have to
Even
go.
getting back to the ABC and networks or whatever, they're irrelevant, and there's no need for them anymore. And that's why they're going like the horse and buggy. And Fox News
Right.
will topple someday,
Right.
because I'm sure a lot of people aren't watching Sean Hannity. Why watch Sean Hannity? He just licks everybody's boots, and it's like an echo chamber. Why would you want to hear the same crap over and over?
Well, when you hear it at one time, you're going to hear it all throughout the whole day. You just hear different people.
If you
take on
listen
it.
to those types of people,
No, I mean
don't-
honestly, all throughout the day. I mean, when you want to go over and get different things at different people's houses, you're listening there because they're listening to the same station.
But my argument is that it's just a matter of time. I'm saying within the next 5 years,
Yeah.
even Fox News will be gone. They're irrelevant now. I mean, look,
Well, one of the
they
things
didn't even get a debate this year.
one of the things that Elon Musk
Did they?
actually.
I don't think
no,
so. No.
No.
We-
Only in.
I don't even remember the debate. There's
No,
two,
that's okay.
two of them,
I
right?
remember
Three of them?
there were 3 debates.
Was there three?
No, there was 2 debates.
That's
There was
before.
three. I'm talking about vice president too.
Oh,
There's
three.
three,
There was
right?
three,
Yeah.
But
Okay,
then
Elon
you-
Musk did come out with one.
It's just
full
funny
thing.
you can't even remember all that stuff. It's like it's
like an ancient
it's a
history. It
blur
just
now.
happened a month ago or something.
Well, speaking of that, Cackler says Harris says that she may run for president or governor of California.
You know what?
She's already thinking about it.
I wouldn't mind her running for California governor. You know
Why?
why? Because honestly, keep her in California.
Why even give her the chance to even ruin it worse than it is?
Yeah, Newsom's done a pretty good job on it, but I'm sure she could finish it off.
Because I want
Well,
to say
you can blame Baby Bush for some of the downfall of California with Enron.
Yeah, another thing is too, I didn't really think that Schwarzenegger was a great governor either. I mean, he was Republican, but I think he basically sucked on that myself. He wasn't a stellar
No,
governor.
because if one thing that I learned, and I'm sure that you know, watching political bullshit, is that just wait long enough and it's going to change.
Right.
I mean, 4 years, that's all they're going to have. Really, not even 4 years, because the first 6 months to a year, they're learning what they're supposed to do.
and then after that, they've only got about a year.
Which
and then they're running
that's
again.
part of the problem with Trump, that they're so worried about.
Because he
He
already
doesn't
knows
He
it.
knows what to do, and he's just ready to just flip that switch at what is it, 12:01 and
12 on
20.
each way.
I can
of
only
Ju-
wait. I mean, I want to see what's going to happen. I mean, I'm seeing the positive change right now, just him being in the wings. I mean, that's
But getting
You know,
back
amazing.
you're seeing people now who are actually happy, and there are people are actually wanting to say Merry Christmas. You're seeing
But
banks
the
actually
news is trying to tear it down already. Like I brought up, the we talked about before the show. You got the popular vote. You got the electoral college
right.
vote. Uh, right now, he's 48% right now
Biden's what was it, 37%?
favorability going into office,
Mm.
and they're still saying that he has no mandate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I mean, Mark Ruffalo and Michael Moore and all these others are chanting, he's an illegitimate president. I went, he's more legitimate than
And wait, Michael Moore's actually came out of
He's
hiding.
saying that. Yeah, they said that. Yeah, he came out of hiding. He was there with this group. I don't know what it was. It was a bunch of them. Mark Ruffalo, who I can't stand. He was there. He's illegitimate.
He's the worst Hulk ever.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, let's face it. Bill Bixby was the best because he's a more. Oh, and that was on. I can't stand the
Never mind.
the new Hulk. I mean,
But
it's
getting back to
ridiculous.
what you were saying,
Yeah.
they had their little echo chamber.
Yeah, there's like he's an illegitimate president. I went, he had the vote. He's got the popular vote as well as the electoral vote. How the hell is he illegitimate?
And 48% of the people think that he's doing the right thing.
Right. Whereas,
Well, I'm sure it's more than 48%. This is CNN poll.
yeah,
Shove a piece of pizza in Michael Moore's face and just shut up.
Nah, he's not gonna. I mean,
No,
what
shut up.
if he didn't have CNBC and all these other stupid whatever they are, whatever the letters are, he wouldn't be anywhere because his word wouldn't get out.
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Because-
does he do a podcast or?
I don't know.
Yeah, he does a
But what's
podcast.
stupid is we talked about that
It's
before.
called
But
Let Me
what
Introduce It.
happens anytime he says something? The stupid conservative talking heads want to report on it, just like they want to report on The View, where ordinarily no one would ever hear or see anything that he says
Right.
if it weren't for these dumb talking heads.
But it brings me up, like you bring a valid point up, like Allen Ginsberg, he was a writer of poetry, bad poetry, basically, I think, but one of the beat poets. And there was like, he was writing and when he was in Europe and he brought back the book to be published and it was considered scandalous. And like, they had like, obscenity laws and at that
Right.
time. And actually because of all the fervor and the publicity stuff around that, it sold a hell of a lot more
People
than
wanted to
ever
buy it
would.
just to read
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they
Right.
sold a hell of a lot more.
Just
than
like
it did
when,
before.
remember, I don't know if you remember or not, but when I'm trying to think of the porn cartoon that came out about a cat.
Yeah.
But because of the publicity of that,
Right.
for that, because how bad it was, people went and they watched it and they made all kinds of money
Right.
on it.
So that's,
You remember the last Temptation of Christ?
I was just going to go to that. Yeah.
That was.
Oh, I think a lot of people went to that because they believed in the word.
No, they went to it because
No.
oh my god, it was so. Oh my god,
I've seen it.
No, because there was a lot of publicity about it, about the aromatic and different things and how it's the
No.
closest.
No. The last Temptation. of
Oh,
Christ.
the last.
This one,
I'm
this is the
sorry.
80s. This is like the late 80s. This one came
This
out.
was where everybody was saying, "Oh my gosh!" And every church.
Oh,
was
it
doing
was.
this
I
and
remember that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Willem Dafoe played Christ. Yeah,
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 Willem
yeah,
Dafoe.
that one. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, see the Passion of the Christ.
Passion
It
of
also-
The Passion of
Christ
Christ,
was-
everybody drove.
Yeah, that's-
because of
That was different.
yeah, because the ADL and other people jumped on board before it was even out.
But the last temptation was they made him out to be gay, right?
Well, no, they just
Made
basically.
him out.
Well, I mean, there was gay.
no, they
things going
they actually
on.
made him out to be more of a
Human.
Mary human, and him and Mary.
But there were gay people. There were
Oh,
gay.
yeah.
Yeah, there were
Some of
gay
the disciples
dancers in
were-
it and everything.
There's somebody that
some of the
going on too.
disciples were gay.
Yeah, but-
so like him.
Nikos Kazantzakis wrote the book, but I don't know if the book. I mean, from what I read of the book, there was some difference between the book and the movie. It wasn't kept, it wasn't steadfastly kept to the original book. But no, Nico had been from a Orthodox background, Greek Orthodox, background. So he obviously removed himself from that to write that because it would be considered blasphemous amongst the Orthodox. Yeah, but he had him imagining himself, just as an imagining thing, on the cross. And he actually really wanted to have this life with Mary Magdalene or whatever.
If the Baptist leaders and the conservative leaders of the churches would have just let it go and not said a word about it, that movie would have flopped
Big time.
in the first week.
The best thing about it was the soundtrack because a couple of Peter Gabriel did a couple of songs on it. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I seen it. I went with a friend of mine. She had no religious background whatsoever.
I never saw it.
It was shown at the Kiva over at U of M. And she goes, "What is it about this that is everybody?" And I watched and I said, "Oh, this is where it's going to be probably run afoul with the true Christians. Naturally, it should. I mean, You know, I mean, and other things too, they always assume Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. It's never stated she was a prostitute. She had demons, but he had to, he did an exorcism on her, but they never said she was. And somehow, some pope actually read into the scripture and said she had been a prostitute. And there is not an inscription or historical record where she was actually considered a prostitute.
Well, they read her as unclean, and so they took it that.
See, well, the uncleanness would probably because of issue, menstrual cycle. It could have been that's what back then it was a broad spectrum thing for women to be considered
Well, they
unclean.
also said that she probably was. Well, they actually took it down to one step further, where she was probably more of a temple prostitute. If you remember right, that at that time they had the temple prostitute.
But that was in front of the religions, not the
Right.
Judaism. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just all I know is I saw the book, I saw the movie, and it didn't leave a great impression
And
on me.
prostitution might go back to being legal, which, honestly, because they've got a new movement now going around where liberal women are shaving their heads and
Yeah.
saying that.
I think it's very few and far between.
I know,
You
but-
probably can
Can-
one hand.
Can I ask a
people that would do that?
It's like, when's the last time these women got laid anyway? I mean, I'm
Well,
sorry, I'm
a
gonna
lot of
be
these women-
scandalous,
Probably
but
the
some of these
last
women are saying
time
that
you
they-
did.
oh yeah, but it's like at least I don't go on going crazy about
You're gonna
it.
shave your head too.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
don't
shave
know.
my head. Does that help? We recognize each other, right? You haven't
Well,
had it in a while.
I haven't shaved my head because I shaved my head for 20 years now. Thank you very much.
I think it's just ridiculous. I mean, oh my god, oh my god.
But what do you think about you? What do you think about Trump removing transgenders the right to serve them in the military the first day in office?
I'm,
But he's going to allow the people that are already in the military to continue with their enlistment.
I think it's good.
It's not a place for social experimentation. The military
No,
is not.
that's my opinion.
And
it's
the
They
DEI's
always
got
tried to do that with different things in the military.
Colin Powell even
Like,
wanted
don't
to
need
say
to
that.
do it.
I was in an all male unit, in an infantry unit,
Right.
but they wanted to have sexual harassment classes.
It's like,
Oh, am I going to sexual harass?
In all male units.
But no, I mean the whole unit. There's no women.
right.
Right. We all had to do it.
I'm just saying the stupid things that they would make us do
Right.
in the military, the dumb classes that they would make us go.
Yeah.
Or-
I think removing them is a smart move. Well, look, okay, let's talk about the Nancy Mace. What do you think about this? Well, she's Delaware, the transgender one from Delaware, coming in, and Nancy Mace is trying to make it legal for all across the country for any transgender to go into the
The bathroom.
It's
Yeah.
not only that, the whole thing, it also goes into the sports thing and
which I read today that the
no
judge,
biologic. Well, Trump can just pencil whip that and the judge can have fun with it all day.
right, which I kind of would say pencil with, but it's not that. Listen, I have no problem.
What
with
I'm saying is you
penciling
can
it
do
down.
an executive order. That's what I mean
Right,
by
right.
pencil whip.
But what's your okay? But as an uncle or as somebody in this, what's your take on this? What's your take on somebody who says, "Hey, listen,
It's not okay.
someone
It's
going to the
not.
bathroom.
It's not the problem if someone who fully presents as female. I'm not going to say there's not going to be police there. If somebody looks like a woman and they go in the bathroom, so be it, right? And as long as they don't bother anybody or whatever.
Right.
I mean, how else are you going to tell? You can't.
Right.
Right.
You got to follow them in.
You're not gonna
Let's
walk
see your
in.
junk. I
I
mean,
mean, what I'm
that's like-
saying it's not them they're trying to prevent from going into the bathrooms. It's the nasty men
well,
that will put a wig on and just walk in there and say, I'm a woman.
if the moral of the
I'm a
story,
woman
if-
and I gotta pee.
if you're
Where's the urinals?
if you're a tranny, I guess the upshot
But
of
no,
if
no,
you're tranny, make
but
sure
that's what it
That's
is.
kinda what they're
No,
trying.
I shouldn't use words like tranny because we're trying to present.
yeah, what transsexual, transgender, or whatever. But no, I just think
But we're
it's
not
like taking
going.
an inch,
We're
you're
not
gonna go 5
saying
miles. It's
the
not-
laws are already there, and if somebody can present as a female and you don't know that they're a female, or somebody presents as a man and you don't know, it is what it is.
well, if they went into the stall and did their business, nobody would matter. But I mean,
But
it's like,
okay, but you should make them take that baggage with them. Okay, you want to go in there, but what about these other people that want to go in there? Do you want them in there with you? I don't think you want them in there with you either.
no, I don't want. I just
No, I'm saying that's what you say to them. They might feel safe with this person in there, but are you going to feel safe with this man that's dressed as a woman
Coming in
that's
the-
definitely coming in here just because he's a perv? No.
I like what some of the fathers have said, you go into my daughter's bathroom with my daughter, see if you live through it. I'd love to tell the story.
Yeah,
to
but
tell
where
the
are
tale.
those? But that's the question. Where have those guys been? Because
Because
those are
they
good words.
silence them because they're not
they
the
threaten 'em.
narrative that they want to present.
Right.
Come on, you're talking about a private news agency that can present whatever narrative that they want to present. If that's not what they want, they're not going to come in. They're not going to. Who do they interview? They don't interview people, fathers of children, do
No,
they?
No.
They interview transgenders
But
that look like females. That you
I was
would
reading
never-
the judge about the San Jose case today.
what?
I was reading the ruling from the judge from the San Jose case today.
What's the
With
San Jose
The
case?
San Jose University. With the
What is
girl
it?
that
Can you explain?
she is she's number 3. I can't remember her name, but she's the transgender girl who plays for San Jose.
You're talking about the volleyball.
Volleyball
You're
player.
talking about the okay that
Who got sued?
that nobody would. Are you talking about that nobody would play that team
Right.
and they were upset?
Right.
Everybody was taking a forfeit, right?
Right. I was talking about that. I was reading the ruling, and as I'm reading the ruling, what was going through my head was
Well, what was the ruling first of all?
the ruling is that he can go and he can play girls' sports.
Well, he can go ahead and go and play girls' sports, but it doesn't mean the
And
girls
then
are
you
going to
go,
play him.
right? No,
Right.
and then but the problem is, and that they have, there's nothing wrong, nothing like that. So I was reading this whole ruling that this guy wrote, and I'm thinking that the whole time
A guy wrote it or a judge?
the judge, and I'm sitting there thinking, the time that they're writing, I'm thinking, are you a parent? And how the heck? And I know that the law has got to
So
be
when you're
blind.
saying you don't agree with what the judge wrote as a parent,
I'm reading that thinking as a human being, where the heck is this coming
but you
from?
still haven't said what the judge wrote.
He wrote that basically there's no violation of any policies, there's no violation of any laws going on with this person playing that a man couldn't be, if a man feels like they're a woman at any format, they can go in the spot. Does not matter or anything else.
But that's not the end all and be all. I'm sure that they'll take it
No,
up.
I mean
to
they'll gotta
another
take it up.
court.
They gotta go take it up to the courts. That's not. But I'm thinking
But I think
one person can sit here who isn't.
But that's the way our laws work,
I know.
unfortunately, right?
And I just
but-
was reading that thinking, my God, this.
But
is
what's good, the way that they're doing it in protest, and I'm sure John will agree with me, is getting more publicity than that judge will ever get by
Right.
just not simply not playing her
Yeah,
and
it's
taking a
not showing.
forfeit.
Yeah, just that's and it's so. I mean, that's okay. They say that they want people that they encourage kids to play sports because both they get this inculcate certain values in them, right? Which I'm always questioned, but anyway. So they remove that now, and it's for what? Somebody because they just want a hissy fit because they. It's ridiculous. I mean, all the things you're saying you want sports being in place for, you're going to allow to be basically removed because or dismissed or whatever because these people want to throw a hissy fit because their feelings are hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
this
but
is
The
ridiculous.
feelings being hurt and all that stuff goes along with it. Goes back to the fact of where girls wanted to play football, where girls guys playing football.
That's fine if they want to play football. I don't.
I
mind.
didn't like that part. And then the fact of going from Girl Scouts going into Boy Scouts, I didn't like that.
No, it's like
No, that was stupid.
Well,
they ruined the Boy
well,
Scouts.
they said the reason why they said that because Boy Scouts do the better activities. So like, well, then change the activities the Girl Scouts do. I mean, that's an easy fix, you know.
Stop selling cookies.
Yeah, start-
no.
no.
keep
yeah,
selling cookies,
but
sell-
nobody. I'm sure there's no parent that wants their kid to be a Boy Scout anymore.
No, I mean, well, anybody who's I'd say rational, not some some NPR listening whack job, you know.
But it just makes me wonder, why is our world trying to cater to like point nothing of the population?
That's what-
that's
just-
what's so stupid.
it's
They're
squeaking
making
wheel.
making a whole law that affects 99.9% of the rest of the population for point nothing percent of the population.
That's progress. That's that's the progressive for you. They always got to push the envelope, you know. We
But
always
they
got to
let 'em,
challenge your.
but they let them. They're always weak kneed and won't stand up to them.
Because they have come up with psychological sounding names to call you. You know, like they pathologize you if you have any issues.
I mean, like you
You're
brought
racist,
like you
sexist,
brought up that you had a coworker that you really never had any interaction with, but they talked to you because you talked too loud and you scared her because she had PTSD.
There's like a woman I worked with. I couldn't talk to her about anything. You know, issues we had because I was a male and she had gone through a bad marriage.
You had to change your behavior because you made her feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Don't you think a better thing would be is if you don't like John, if you feel uncomfortable around John, if you see him turn around, walk the other way, or do something. Avoid John. Why are you going to go to John and tell John he needs to change?
Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't never threatened her, never. It just I talked to him
How long
about her
ago was
voice.
that?
This is
How long
like 20 some years ago. It was like 20 some years ago, and it was because she had a bad husband and he beat her. Okay, I never threatened to beat her. Didn't even talk loud to her.
But you didn't even know you were doing anything.
I didn't yet. She goes, well, you know, my boss took me up and he said, well, you know, she was in a bad situation. Yeah, they all do. I mean, all of them had pretty much a bad boyfriend or a bad husband or whatever. So I'm supposed to say, oh, gee, can I be emasculating further to make them feel safe? That's ridiculous.
Making you feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
You couldn't
about
raise your voice, at that time where you
But
raised
rather
your voice.
not, just tell her to suck it up, Buttercup. Pull up your little big girl pants and live your life like every other female that works here, or don't work here.
Well, she overheard me because she had put we had a lot of orders, and that's what it was one day. And I said, "Damn it, man, this is so much." And that was all it was. I said a couple other words, but it wasn't directed at her. It was she wasn't even in the room when I said it.
So you're in another room.
She was in another room. She overheard it, and I didn't say anything directed towards her about her or anything else.
So you didn't use her name.
No,
You just said, "Damn it!" And
you know,
used a few
damn, there's a
other-
lot of orders. That's all I
But
said.
don't you feel if people talk to him just straight up and said,
Grow up.
"That's stupid, grow up, get a life, or don't work here"? I'm not going to go tell John to. I'll tell John not to cuss in the workplace, or maybe he shouldn't be
Calm
grumbling
voice.
under his breath about
Yeah, but
carrying out the orders that I give him.
right. But I was like,
But other than that,
Because that's kind of what
too
we get
bad,
paid
too
for.
sad, little girl.
yeah, they did just they you know they was made to feel bad because they had a penis. You know, I mean, I
But
don't know.
but I mean, to be honest with you, working with females has been the hardest thing that I've ever. Either they're great. There's
Right.
no in
In between,
between.
yeah.
Either they're great to work with, they do their job, and they expect the same out of others,
Right.
or they just suck.
They're little prima donnas or
There's
something.
no
like
in between.
that. Yeah,
And
I-
you can't talk to him like you can tell. Like if you and I had a problem, I could tell you I had a problem, and you might get mad because I said it,
But you over it.
and you might change, and you might not change. But at least
Highly
I
doubt
could.
it, but
At
yeah.
least I could tell you.
Right.
yeah, but it was just ridiculous.
But
I
a
mean,
female, you can't.
Oh God, they'll hold a grudge for the day you die.
what?
A female will hold a grudge.
Yeah.
till the
Oh,
day you
yeah.
die.
That's another woman. We worked at the university. Woman worked today. She worked in another department, and she took a job working with a all male architecture firm. And we were at the going away party. We met at the Torch, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad. I'd rather deal with men because they get mad at you. They say it right off the top, and that's done with. You never hear about it again." She goes, "But when I'm around all these females in this office, something happened 5 years ago. I'm still hearing about it."
You know what? When I used to work at HR at McLaren, we actually had to do something once a month because they had 80 women working together. You want to talk
You had a
about that?
period.
No, no, but they all did. You want to try to talk about working with 80 women at one time? We had to take them out and do things, try to generate them to working together with their managers and all that
Yeah.
because you had all these women. We were coming up with different parties for them just to get them to actually work together. I'm like, are you freaking, because they had a problem with everything. There was one lady who came up the ranks, became a manager. She expected people to work like they did 20 years ago, like just work,
Mhm.
not worry about all the other crap that was going on in life. But my God, you would imagine the whole world. And I was trying to listen to everybody's problems and be there for everybody. You cannot do that.
You can't please everybody.
You cannot.
You cannot please. I mean,
At our office, I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you,
And I've been married, and I know you can't. You
you
can't
can't
please
please them.
women.
Oh, no.
no, you can't. I mean, it's just.
No, because once you make that first mistake of compromise, they see it as weakness.
Yeah.
But if you don't compromise, you're
Oh,
also
then
an
you-
asshole.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're
Oh, I
screwed
mean-
either way.
I'm in a, yeah.
it's like it's.
Yeah, we won't talk. We won't go there.
No,
We don't
no,
get
actually, but we
this-
got a woman that works with us that I adore. I literally adore. She runs our production.
Is that why you got to let go?
No, now at
You
our
send her the
company.
notes and stuff.
No, I know Sandy. Sandy comes in every
You're
day.
gonna say her name?
Yeah, Sandy comes in every day, and Sharon and Sandy, they come in every day and they work their butts off. And Julie and they all get their butts and they get different things. And
Oh, okay. You're talking
our
about
company,
now.
yeah.
Well,
at our company, I'll tell you what, the younger generation, oh Lord, don't even think it.
not the people that work for you, of course. You're talking about
No,
other-
girls that work for us. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
just
trying
Sandy-
to dig you out of the hole.
No, I'm telling you, the people who work for us right now
Are
I'm telling you,
awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
yeah,
But other places you work, They
Well, other
weren't.
places I work, I'm like, oh,
That's
no,
what-
they're-
yeah, the woman I was talking about, the one who I had to be so circumspectful around. She was annoying, but the other women I worked with, the other ones that my student workers, I was the supervisor of,
But-
tremendously.
But didn't you
great
find
people.
I found the women that I respected and thought that they were really doing their job. The other women hated them.
Yeah. Yep.
They hated them because of their attitude, or they weren't
They were
this, they weren't that.
unbothered. They didn't care. They didn't
Right.
want to. They just. I come here to work. I don't come here to hear you complain about work.
Or your
You
petty
come
stuff.
here to work. This
Right.
is what work is.
Right. That's
That was their attitude, and
like
the other women hated it.
like I
I
said,
always thought they were, oh my god, they're a bitch. They don't.
They're
talk
not a
about us.
bitch. They just come in. They want to. They want to work and they want to
Go
go
home.
home.
right.
Yeah,
No,
their life is outside that door.
And they would never talk about what they're like. Two of the best people that I've ever worked with were females. We worked 3 years together.
You didn't know they were married.
I didn't know if they were married, had kids. I didn't know. I knew the one that she had dogs because she loved her dogs.
She loved her dogs.
But I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know where they lived. Nothing. I just knew their first names. I don't even know if I didn't know the one's last name until after I stopped working and found her on Facebook, and we're friends now. But what I'm saying is we had a work relationship,
Right.
and that's it.
And that's good.
And
I
it was
mean,
nice.
yeah, like I said, I had some great stellar student workers that are female. I mean, the bulk of my student workers are female, and I just great. I mean, I had no issues with them. But this one was the one I was talking about was more on my level. We're full timers, we actually member,
Right.
employed by this university in full time capacity. And God, she was just, oh, man,
But even
she
them,
was so bad.
even them. I mean, I highly respected these two women. Even them, other women had problems
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't see them, they saw them as trying to become a sellout if they got along with the guys on the job. Well, you're a
Or
sellout.
managers.
Yeah.
Well, they treated everybody the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just like I said, no, we're not knocking on women we worked with because I like I
Oh,
said, I had
some of
great
them.
workers. Some of them are, yeah, like
But
it's
some men suck too.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but I tell you, when the women suck, well, I don't.
what made it harder because you couldn't
When the
address it.
women aren't doing the job to par, and the men aren't, it's two different.
Like you just
levels.
said,
they're
but
really not.
Like you were talking to, you're talking to, our colleague here. You were saying like, if you have an issue, it's like,
I think you forgot my name.
yeah, brain fart.
His name's Todd.
Todd, I know, I just brain fart.
He just
Um,
called me
but-
Brett Favre. I wish I had the money of Brett Favre.
No, I said no. But anyway, no brain fart. I
Oh.
said not brain fart. But it was like, no,
Thanks.
Dick, you
We
got
won't
a
be doing
problem.
this together for-
well, it's like you remind me of somebody else I used to work with all the time too. So
If he says a girl, I'm going to reach over.
no,
Well, Jody.
no, Jody. No, but I just no. Now I forgot my point I was going to make. But
Oh, sorry.
that's right. But no, I just I've had some great women I worked with. But I said the one I had to work with, I'm talking about now. I don't know why the past few days that she's cut back to memory, but it was like it was ridiculous what the demands were. It was from the upper management.
Right.
She didn't come directly and talk to me. It was going to other people, and I was like, why could a guy you could say, hey, look, you could tick me off in this and don't do this again. Okay, fine. You can't do that to a female. When you're a male, you can't do that.
No, that's what I said.
Right, that's what I said.
My saying that if I had a problem with brain fart here, I could tell him that he's a brain fart, and then
Like I gotta take the hat off. It's feeding the flow of the blood to the brain. No, it's just I forget my family members' names at times.
How did I become brain fart when he can't remember me?
I didn't do it.
because you thought he said Brett Favre.
No, I mean, I think it's sometimes. I think,
Can you believe people are watching this?
yeah.
yeah, they're probably going, what the?
I was like, what did I walk into? I'm not going to do that again. But it's like a train wreck. You want to watch it? No, God, this is horrible. I
These
can't take.
these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Trump was saying, and plus I forget, you can remember his czar for that
Tom Holman.
yeah, I'm talking about illegal immigrants self deporting.
Before, yeah,
It's already happening. Like in Springfield, a lot of the migrants are leaving. The Haitians are
Yeah.
leaving
Are
because
leaving.
they're feared that they're going to get
Kicked out.
kicked out anyways.
well, it's I guess they're
Do you think that's true though? Wouldn't you wait to get kicked out and get a free ticket rather than
Because you're not going to
pay?
get a free ticket.
you're
Yeah,
not
you
gonna-
are. You're going to get deported. What do you think they're going to just take you to Mexico and kick you out?
Holman, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
don't think so. I think we're going to spend money to fly them out. A lot of these people were flown in. They were flown in from Haiti
Yeah.
Right.
directly to the United States.
Right.
There's
They,
this,
they didn't go through Mexico.
I was on TikTok and there was this guy, I mean, a Sikh, one of the Sikh religious groups. He had the
Mhm.
turban on and everything. And he was talking with illegals. Now you're thinking he's probably sympathetic to illegals. He's yes, they're here illegally. And oh yeah, you're going to spend
Because,
money.
he worked his ass off to get here.
But he said, you're gonna deport them, spend money. The people are saying you're gonna spend money to deport them. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. We spent money to give them shit when they're here. We're gonna spend money to get them out of here. Why not? I mean, this is a foreigner who came over here legally, or
Right.
99% of that, is probably accurate. And he was outraged. So when it's somebody from his background who is supposed to be more sympathetic to the foreigner, and he's pissed off about as much as an American.
That Vivek was talking to Steven Crowder about the same issues, and he was more or less saying it like that, but more in a more elegant way.
Yeah.
And Steven Crowder said, "I applaud you for that. You can say that because and you get away with it because
You're Indian.
you're Indian." And he said, "You are a coward.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that exchange, and he's right. I mean,
You're a coward. You won't stand up because you are a coward. You're go ahead.
yeah, that's what he said. You are a coward. He said you should be able to say it, and you're allowing them to tell you not to say it. I can't remember exact words, but he said you're allowing them. You're reining in on your free speech. You can't say what you want to say.
And he also said that Christians are cowards too.
Right. I mean, that goes back to years ago when they were having some kind of interfaith group meeting at some kind of Catholic school, and they didn't want to have people be offended by the crucifixes in classrooms, so they went through and removed them. You could see because of the paint stuff like that,
Right.
there had been something there, and somebody made an inquiry, what happened to the crucifixes there, and one of the the attendees, and they said, well, we removed it because we don't want you to be offended by a crucifix. And this guy's from another religion. He goes, I'm offended that you thought I would be offended by you expressing your faith around me, that I couldn't take that to honesty. He said, so you remove the cross to make me feel more comfortable, but you're actually saying I'm not able to understand you have a difference of opinion. And I thought that was a very valid point. I was like, you can't understand. I mean,
But do you think, like I talked about, that there was that switch that was tripped
Yeah.
when Trump came into office, that a lot more people, like I said before, on one of the ABC, NBC networks, somebody's talking about a man in a dress and it being a mental disorder.
They're finally coming
The
back.
things have changed since the 7th of this month.
yeah, I mean, it's just,
It's like if people have grown up and regained their beliefs and their values.
Well, I think
Next thing you know, Christians are going to be talking more about Christ.
they found their voice again. I think people found their voice.
Well, I mean, how can one man have that power?
Because-
Well, I know there's been one man before that's walked this earth that's had that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that-
but this one
he
man
changed
is a little bit
lives, but-
different. Yeah, and this man actually.
I'm
is-
not equating him with
No.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
I know that. I
No,
didn't think
no.
you were.
No, but this guy has given people that have had no voice.
But
no voice.
he's crossed boundaries.
Yeah.
Not he's. I mean, there's people that I've seen come out for Trump that I would never guess in a million years would
Would
come
do it.
out for Trump.
Right.
Well, like I remember years ago, there was this dried up old prune. There was some kind of like, some lefty, and they were saying about Reagan, and she goes, Reagan makes you feel comfortable with your prejudices. Well, gee, you have your prejudices too about anybody who disagrees with
But-
you. So, I
But
mean,
using it, the guy that made that palette,
mhm,
Right.
that cross.
Right.
When I first met him,
he was a Democrat.
he was a Democrat. If you talk to him now, you would swear he's a
Republican.
Republican.
Yeah, because he
But-
says I can't go. I
But I
can't
don't
go."
think there's a Republican Party anymore.
But I'm saying he's changed.
Yeah,
And I've only known over this little over a year,
Yeah, you've only just known about a year.
and he's made that change in the
Since
last
the time.
year
and he's basically
on his own. Nobody's
Yeah.
feeding him anything.
you see posted on Facebook, he'll say like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but he was supporting Trump. He didn't like Trump. I mean, when Trump ran the first time, I remember his postings on Facebook. He was
He
very
hated
anti-
Trump.
He hated Trump.
Well, I was worried about that when
Right.
I'm not worried, but
right.
because we were trying to do a business together,
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't want to ruin it with politics.
And he's come on board. I mean, he's glad Trump. He voted for Trump. He's very elated that he won. And his family are all labor Democrats. For the past 60, 70 years. I mean, so he felt kind of put out, do I have to go to that route? But he couldn't stand behind Kamala Harris. So I mean, and it's a lot of people say, I'm still a Democrat, but the Democratic Party left me. I didn't leave the
I
Democratic
mean,
Party.
even people that come in here that you would never
Imagine
think
being-
would support Trump have family members that come in here and just make your head spin with their beliefs.
Yeah,
No, that you would never expect that. He knows who I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Come here and talk about what he's talked about Trump.
yeah.
It was crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I do think the world has changed.
I mean, like I said, you keep on going back, and I'm going to belabor the point again, and I'm sorry to bore you guys, but I mean, Megyn Kelly they used to have that spat. They had that spat
Right.
between them the first time. Now she's on what's his Bill Maher's show defending Trump, arguing against Bill Maher against Trump, about saying shit about Trump.
But it just proves that she's a rational person.
Right.
I'm not. She's
Well,
not
actually,
a Trump
he's
lover.
actually-
I mean, she loves what he's doing. I
Right.
don't think that she still loves Trump
No, that's
or fully forgiven him for.
And Bill Maher is not like a Trumpy.
no.
But
he's
he
not-
does say dumb shit.
He
every
does
say-
now and again.
But you know what? Bill Maher is actually coming out and saying stuff about, you know what? This is what you guys did on the left. This is what you guys are. You guys are being really retarded in the left,
right.
and calling out stuff on the left like he's never done in a long time.
That's
You know, the last 2 years, I've heard Bill Maher's call out more on the left than I've ever heard him ever call.
Yeah,
out.
he's discussing with
because, yeah, then that's the reason people are leaving the party. And the same thing, like Kennedy said, I didn't leave the party left me.
right. And I always thought, I mean, I would never thought if you told me 10 years on the road, in the past, that I was going to ever be appreciative of a Kennedy still being in office somewhere or wanting to be in office or around political sphere, I'd say, I'm glad those guys are out. Don't tell me that. Now,
But the thing
you're
is,
saying a lot of
okay,
stuff I agree
even-
with.
But the Kennedys -1, you can't really complain about what they were trying. And I'm trying to separate the person
Yeah, from
what they did in office.
Oh yeah,
You
Right.
can't really complain about what they were doing. And you know why his RFK's dad was shot is because he was trying to uncover trying to do what Trump's doing now.
right.
Right.
And so, and his brother got killed years before that for doing the same thing. Largely, I mean, do have the, trying to deal with the
Just
CIA.
not going with the flow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he was questioning, he was challenging the power structure.
It wasn't
in
one
DC.
of the quotes that they said this guy really thinks he's president.
Right? And yeah, this
No, I mean that's what was
No.
said. He really thinks he's the president,
Yeah, he really thinks he's something.
I just
not something. The
He's
president.
the president.
yeah,
Yeah.
all I could say is if they remember the expression, politics makes strange bedfellows, and I mean now I'm talking with I'm like I'm
But I
respecting
don't
people like the
see. I see
Kennedys,
them as a person first
right?
and a politician. I don't see Trump as a politician,
Well, see,
and I don't see really Kennedy as a politician either.
I look
Or
at him as a person.
That's those people. They've been definitely humanized. Not
But
they're
then-
not too slick.
But then you get stupid idiots like Alec Baldwin who stands up and says in Italy, well, the reason why Americans vote for Trump is because we're all stupid and uneducated.
Oh yeah, okay.
Where the
and
guy shows
that
up,
is what they're trying to say is the average voter for Trump is not educated, and Harris's was. Come on,
No, that's a
man.
load of crap.
It's,
Okay,
do you
another,
have a brain?
no. Let's just see. I've been around education institutions all my life. Just because they got a
Some of the
PhD,
dumbest,
some of the dumbest
smartest
people ever met.
what?
I remember we're from.
I
I
got
mean, they're
PhDs.
smart. They're smart in their area.
Yeah, you couldn't.
in
They're
their,
very book
in their field. Yeah,
They couldn't push.
but take them out of that, and they couldn't change the light bulb.
They couldn't change. They couldn't push play button on the VCR. We had to go push the play button for them. If it wasn't,
they couldn't figure out what that.
yeah,
little thing
we actually had the ones we actually had put like a little tape on with arrow on it,
Push
and then
this.
push this, and they couldn't do it.
No.
No.
But they had a PhD in some.
Yeah, some arcane
Stupid.
field. Yeah, I mean, it's just. I'm telling Tom. I guess I'm gonna
And
be.
wrote some book that they want
but
people
you
to
look,
understand.
if you want to look at someone in education, look at the guy. What's his name with the keys?
Oh, Lishkin.
He has the keys for the political keys.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my god.
he wasn't even smart enough to use them. But if you would have used them, he would have been. If you would have used them in the right way, he would have been right about the election.
Right.
But no, because he wanted a certain outcome that you couldn't get out of the keys that he made. But who does he want to blame? He wanted to blame the hateful the hateful voter.
You didn't
for-
vote the way I said it, girl.
They
did
didn't
you?
vote the way
He
that
couldn't
he
handle
said.
it. He couldn't handle somebody calling him onto his face stupid.
That was funny.
Oh my
though.
god, I don't like the guy who called him stupid, but
Why
man,
don't you
it was
have a
funny.
nice cup of? Why don't you have a nice glass of shut up juice?
Don't
The
call me
Young Turks
stupid.
guy when he said that to
Yeah.
him.
I don't really like the Young Turks guy, but man, that guy was
You-
cracking
you
me up
know
that
his
day.
name.
Yeah, yeah, he is Turkish. Like Senyek or something. Starts with a C. I can't pronounce it because.
He's an idiot 99% of the time.
Well, see, I actually used to subscribe to the Young Turks channel because some things that I actually did agree with, but now I stopped. I basically, not blocked him, but I removed him from my list of favorites on, YouTube or whatever it was. Because I mean, there's,
But recently, he's been easier to listen to because he's pointing out all the problems. I mean, if they would listen to what he says, they might be able to fix the Democratic Party.
that's, I mean, I don't know if I want it fixed, but
James Carvin. Well,
I
James
do.
Carvin.
I
I would
mean,
like to
do
see
you
James-
really want everything? Should it be? I mean, yeah, I guess in a perfect world, you would want everything that you would want. But what I'm saying is, there should be discourse, and there should be discussion, and there should be debate before any law is passed.
I think it
You
should be
should-
debate and discussion. I'm really not 100% sure I want discourse anymore. I'm tired of
I
that.
do. I want argument.
Yeah,
I want to know why it could be. Yeah, because you could think you have the best law in the world, and not realize when you enact it that you're going to hurt people.
You can debate it.
So the thing is, I think that there's nothing wrong with generating even heat when you're debating the issue. I think you got to do that. I mean, when I was at the college, I learned more at the smoking section, arguing with people about politics or current events or whatever, than I did in the classroom. And it's
You always learn more.
you learn more because if you got a position, you got to defend it. If you find yourself you can't really defend it, you got to abandon it.
But getting back to college, the
Hell,
best,
you learn more in the smoking area than anything.
best classes I ever had, or the best way of teaching, is when the professor had a Rubik's and whatever. He said, "Don't pay attention to that. I just had to write it for the class.
Yeah.
This is what we're gonna talk about.
Oh yeah.
And
those
if you
are-
bought the book, take it back because we're not gonna use it.
Yeah, I had a professor that actually he got in trouble.
Those were the best classes.
because you learn more.
Sociology professor who would flat out refuse to sign a book, any textbook, and the college is pissed off because they get a cut, from the
Right.
publishers and all that. And he goes, "No, I just don't think it." He said, "I'm going to come up with my own book." I don't think he ever did, but he explained it nicely. But of course, I didn't have the technical terms of sociology. I took one to the initial introduction class, and I still couldn't give you a definite definition of what sociology was at that point. By the textbook, definition, because we didn't have a textbook. But I mean, it was an
Well,
interesting
people
class.
change, and the world changes, and so sociology, to some extent, should
Changes
change
with
too.
it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's like it's a social science, but it's not static. I mean, that's a very hard thing about social science. You can say it's pseudoscience, but it's also the fact that because you're studying human subjects, they're not as analyzable or as a you can't break
Because
them down.
people lie.
People lie. People
Well,
move.
culture changes too, and
Right.
culture in different ways that you change. I mean, think about it. We were talking about TVs earlier, right? Back then, we had common sense. Today, nobody has common
No,
sense.
Let's think about it. They still talk about Freud. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't really-
There's nobody in our lifetime who's done anything.
Not really.
No, that's like it's like actually yeah, I could say they got just a variation of theme. I don't really can't see where there's any psychological
Over 100,
principles.
what is it? Like 100 years ago now, isn't it?
It's close to
Close to it.
because he died during the Second World War of jaw cancer of the
Shit,
jaw.
we've been around for 60 years.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
It's not that hard for stuff to be 100 years ago
I-
for us.
Yeah, it's like like my great grandparents who built the house 2 doors over, and the house we're in now, where the studio is at, my grandparents lived at. This was built in 27. That's a long time. My family's been in this area since 1927, 29. That's damn near
I don't
100
know if
years.
That's anything to be proud about.
No, but it's like, well, the thing is, I was gonna say though, when you got generational thing and you're connected to it,
Yeah.
you have a tendency to forget how far back that goes. To you, it's just like a few years ago, you're talking to these people. It was actually 40 years ago. Because it's
Right.
perspective. I mean, when you're 20 years old, 10 years is a big chunk of your life. When you're 60, 10 years is it's a blur. It's perspectively, you know what I mean? So it's like what it is, and you do get
But I
tied.
mean,
into
we're
it.
old enough that I know I didn't meet personally. I just knew people that were involved in the Civil War.
Yeah. I mean, or the First World War. I definitely know a lot of Second World War veterans.
But I'm just saying that I'm that old.
Yeah.
That
You knew some of the people.
You could have been, yeah. I mean, they were in the First War, Second. I mean, the Civil War. You said the Civil War?
yeah.
Oh wow.
I knew
Well,
people.
think about it. I was 60 years.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, it's we forget about that. I mean, nowadays a kid.
They only had to be like 80.
Yeah, right. And there's like a chance of a kid nowadays never be able to meet a Second World War veteran
Right.
because they're pretty much gone. Yeah, I
Right
don't know.
now,
Yeah,
right now,
that's
kids are
one thing
being-
about the 80 seconds. We had 80 second day every year, and there'd be less and less of those
Right.
guys coming every year. I think we were down when I retired in a long time ago.
Mhm.
There was only like 2 left
Right. And
from
I,
the 82nd.
I remember on Cheers they had an episode where this guy was a First World War veteran and he had been a part of a big group that had their meeting or their reunion all the time at Cheers. And he come down one year that he was the only one left. First World War. Of course, this series was in the 80s.
I mean,
But
think about it. A lot of our friends are dying now.
right. Like I just lost a friend in August. And that's hard to take.
And when you get older, I mean, when you reach a certain age, yeah, and then
It's
people
more
just
same
start
people at
dying
the
around
funeral.
you.
it's like you're getting old when the people that down next time you see your friends is gonna be at another friend's
You're
funeral.
scared to ask.
Yeah, it's like,
What happened to so much? Oh, didn't you hear?
Oh, he's
He
dead.
died.
Yeah, we should probably just start meeting at the funeral home anyway, and just in case one of us
Cut
comes
out the
in.
middleman.
Yeah, but it gets sad though. I mean,
We'll be here next Tuesday. Who's dying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's like it's sad. I mean, well, the guy just passed away in August. I knew him 42 years, and I never thought it'd be a point where I could say I knew somebody 42 years of my life because I wasn't 42 years old, ever at that point.
Right.
It's just weird to say that you know somebody that long and they're gone. Anyway, so you think we exhausted the subjects?
I think we were done for the day.
I think we need to come out with music